Most beehiiv reviews these days seem to be, "Hi, I'm content creator X. I spent 90 minutes on beehiiv and I'm going to tell you whether or not it is right for your business. It's my honest review." Or, "I'm going to compare these two tools, neither of which I use day to day, and tell you which one is right for you." Seriously? If you have evaluated tech products, these reviews are great to give you an overview of something, but they are not going to seriously tell you if you can run your business on them in a couple of hours. I'm Amber, the editor of Handmade Seller Magazine. I'm also the curator behind the Handmade channel, which is a streaming channel on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Google TV. And you can find out more about that at the Handmade channel. I bought Handmade Seller Magazine in 2022 when it was a defunct publication. I brought it back, rebuilding subscribers, figuring it out as I go. It is not an easy journey. After one too many WordPress plugins broke in February 2025, we moved over to the beehiiv platform. I noticed there's not a lot of content that actually really gets into the day-to-day decisions or how did you actually run your business on this platform. Everything is very surface level. So for me, making the decision to move to beehiiv meant, honestly, beehiiv's become my ride or die. I run the whole publication on beehiiv, as well as a few other platforms. But it really is the primary engine that runs this indie publication, Handmade Seller Magazine. I need beehiiv to actually work and work properly. So it's not surface level or surface level reviews. The things I'm going to talk about are things that I actually use. As some additional context, my background's actually in tech implementations. So prior to buying the magazine, I actually implemented technology for Fortune 500 companies. My husband, who also works on this project with me and actually builds the Handmade channel, our streaming channel, is a retired CTO as well. So we basically eat tech for breakfast, to be very fair. We just so happen to love the artisan craft industry. And so that's the context where we apply these skills and where I do a lot of writing about small businesses and how to help small businesses grow. Essentially, my ultimate goal is trying to help small independent businesses create the business they want that fits into their life. So for handmade business owners, that means it could be a variety of different revenue streams, different kinds of things they need to do, and what will actually make them successful. Our publication has a print publication, as well as we produce a digital publication, and then we also produce regular news articles as well. In my background, I'm a systems thinker and I am an all-around nerd who just so happens to love this industry. But I wanted to share my experiences on the beehiiv platform. This is not a tutorial on how do you set it up. If that's what you're looking for, this is not the place. This is more ongoing commentary on what does it actually look like for someone to run a business on this platform? What kinds of decisions went into actually moving onto this platform? Why did I do it? How's it going? I'm not going to pretend everything is perfect about the platform either as we go through this. It's a review, maybe don't call it an honest review, but a day in the life of the experiences from a beehiiv operator. I also want to talk about this because it is a newer platform and the company is growing and scaling incredibly fast. It's actually really hard to keep up with the sheer volume of new features that are being implemented from the company. I mean, I found myself implementing features in advance of when the help documentation was quite ready because I've tripped over things. And it's all to serve this greater good. It's not tech for tech's sake. It's how do I use this tech to accomplish my business goals? And so that's the lens with which I am always looking at the decisions that I'm making around what I use on the platform. I'm also hyper cognizant of not introducing and just bolting on systems and disparate things. I want things to actually work for my readers. I want things to be a more seamless experience and for it to not be clunky. And so that also affects how I decide and when I decide to put different features in. In a lot of cases with tech products, you can find tutorials on things, but it's really hard to see anybody say, well, here's what I actually do with that out in the field and into day-to-day life. And what about the conversion experience for getting live on beehiiv? I see very few people talking about that kind of stuff. But if you are actually genuinely trying to migrate something from another platform, there are so many considerations that you have that are completely different from a cold start when you're starting something up brand new. I think those conversations should be had more, and I'd like to share my experiences with that in order to hopefully help you do a better job of planning that if you are planning such an infrastructure move as well. So between Handmade Seller Magazine, running our streaming channel, the Handmade channel, I create a lot of content. I don't use AI writing for the magazine or even to write kind of what I'm going to talk about in these scripts. But I do want to add to the dialogue. And I think I have some different perspectives to offer outside of what you may more commonly hear. My goal as a publication is to grow paying subscribers. My goal isn't to have the largest possible email list. My goal is to have paying subscribers. We are a reader-funded publication. So we're essentially a business-to-business publication because I am selling to small businesses who are buying basically educational content, wanting to get fresh ideas for their businesses, practical advice, etc. So that's the context around what industry am I operating in, because everybody's going to come at this from a different industry in terms of where they are landing. So if you're B2C, trying to grow a large list, you're thinking ad revenue is going to be the be-all and end-all, that's not me, and I'm not the person to help you with that. Those are not my skills. That's not my background. I'm reader-funded, growing paying subscribers, a little bit of advertising, not a ton of it. So that's really the overall context for where I'm at. This conversation also isn't a quick fix or a fast decision. It's my reflections on the product as someone that has decided I really do have to use this to run my business. I'm not going to switch platforms every other week. When you have paying customers, there's a lot of considerations that go into that. But these are observations that I have that'll help your mindset as you look at the tool and try to understand what is going on here. It's also coming from the perspective of someone who does not expect a tool to do everything, everywhere, all at once. I've worked with earlier stage tech products. Now, beehiiv has been around a number of years and they're growing really quickly, but they are a startup. And so they're not going to be quite as established as something you might expect like from a Microsoft or someone else. They are a startup. Some of this is also a little bit of a confessional from me about how I'm really doing things, what I'm experiencing. It's not easy to run an indie publication. Ask anyone that tries to run one. It's not a big money-making scheme. It's more a labor of love. It's something we enjoy doing. It's something I do that benefits the industry that I'm in. But it's also risky to talk about this stuff because guess what? People are going to figure out I'm not perfect and that I don't have every answer for everything. But it's honest and it's real. I'm not going to put a tiny mic up to my mouth so you know I'm real. I've got a pinned on one here. But this is also just me and my mic. Limited editing, just keeping it real. It's really probably the only way that these episodes will get done in the space of everything else that I have going on. So as I continue to release episodes and as I continue to share my observations, my thoughts on what it's like to use the platform, if you love this, if this is super helpful, I would love it if you use my referral link. Really, all that does is it just goes right back into our publication and it's part of helping us fund that. I should also add that the referral link is really the only way that I would ever get paid out of this. I'm not an ambassador. They don't pay me. I'm not being compensated to say any of this. This is really my aim at trying to help other companies, other publications, other businesses that are trying to figure out if this is the right product for them, what it's like from someone that's on the product. It can be really hard to find those kinds of case studies, and so I want to share more about why I'm doing what I'm doing, how am I doing it, and what were the overriding components that went into making that decision. So if that's you, you can go ahead and follow along, like and subscribe. Add some comments. If there's things you want me to talk about, feel free to add comments to some of the videos, and if I use those features, I'm happy to talk about them. I'm not going to be providing you screenshots or showing you the inner workings of exactly all of my setup. And this is more of a talking head type video where I'm going to simply explain my experiences. If you really want to see the screenshots or how things work, you can go into help articles, and there's other tutorials for that kind of stuff. So thanks for watching. If you've stuck along this far, I really appreciate you watching this, and I hope you enjoy future episodes.